On to, without a doubt, although a lot of people don't necessarily agree with me, the most difficult shot in basketball, something called a layup, which is counterintuitive to the way most people think of basketball because they think the layup is one of the more easier shots of basketball, seeing that we shoot it from near the basket as opposed to farther away, like a decent, another kind of shot. The problem with a layup is pretty simple. It is a process called serial skills. Serial skills are the accomplishment of several skills to be done in order, in sequence, in a short period of time. And nothing describes serial skills better than a layup. Because the layup, of course, is not just the shot itself. That's one skill. But the skills involved prior to the layup, which is running with your head up while dribbling, and then obviously enough, getting near the basket and then having to sight a spot somewhere up on the basket and then push that ball up off the board and hopefully it bounces into the rim. Yeah, good luck. Now, I have called youth basketball for years the missed layup sport. If anybody here has coached, and some of you have, you know what I'm talking about. You will see far more missed layups than you will made layups. And this is oftentimes frustrating to coaches who think they're working on layups, and they may be. And they wonder, gee, we work on those layups all the time in practice, and we get to the game, and the girls and the boys still miss the layups. What is it? Well, it's a combination of several things, and basically what you're talking about is moving parts. There are a lot of moving parts to a layup, a kid and a ball, and trying to measure, and very simply, there's other factors involved, such as defense. For instance, how many times have you ever seen a kid go down and miss a layup, slam it off the backboard because some other defender was chasing him or her? Well, what happened? The kid who was making the layup or trying to got excited and threw it up there a little too fast, and it went out. Hey, they miss them at higher levels too. They just don't miss quite as many at those levels. So, again, like the other skills, this takes a lot of patience. But without getting into all the discrete skills of the layup, this is the way to teach it. It's the way I learned years ago from a physical educator. How best to teach the layup is break it into its discrete parts and start with the last thing first. But even before, as I said in the first video, is you've got to teach the kids, number one, to jump, and number two, off the wall, just making layups. The greatest thing about the wall is not a performance measurement tool. When you hit a ball off the wall, it's not going in, it's not going out, which is really good to teach layups. So what you can do is get the kids on the wall. You can get 20 or 30 layups in a minute. You can take them off both feet, although I certainly recommend at these ages they stay with their strong hand for now. And then what you can do as the kids get a little more adept, less inadept, perhaps, at the wall, you can move them out a bit, take a dribble into the wall, and then eventually get to the basket and start with a very easy sequence of starting here off one foot. Technically, what they do is their right arm goes up if they're shooting a right-handed layup as their right leg goes up. Some people refer to it as pulling the lead leg. A lefty would do something like this. Good thing to know. Not necessarily the kids, because this takes a bit of coordination. One of the good things I do with layups in kids is I take away the ball at the beginning, and you should too. And one of the things I showed in the first film is just jumping. So it's off this foot, that foot, jumping like this. Sounds like a tremendously simplistic exercise. But you know what? You see kids do this around the line on the floor. That's not easy to do. In fact, try it yourself sometime. Right? To coordinate your arms and your legs, put a ball in there, and then afterly lay it off the backboard and put it in the basket. That's not easy to do. The second piece of this is the actual making of the layups, which have to be moved out to 25 with dribbles. That will take time, and they're still going to miss plenty of them, even if you work on that. Go slow. Work on the strong hand almost always at this age. I don't worry too much about offhands here. That's more for the older kids. But be patient.